to look at Ibadi Islam quickly, all right? And I think that Ibadis they tend to get overlooked because people tend to say, well, you got the Sunni, the Shiite divide, and say, well, but there's this group over here in Oman, and one of the things that's so important about them is that actually some of the first hadith collections were made by the Ibadis. Some of the first tafsir, commentaries on the Quran, were made by the Ibadis, all right? So they say that Abu Bakr and Omar, the first two caliphs, were legitimate, but that during the time of the third caliph, Uthman bin Affan, that things started to fall apart. All right, now Uthman bin Affan was assassinated by a group of Muslims, and it fell to Ali ibn Abi Talib to kind of pursue that group. All right, they say that the first part of Ali ibn Abi Talib's caliphate was legitimate, but that he erred when he accepted arbitration. This for them is a huge thing, because somebody wanted to arbitrate who should be the actual leader of the Muslim community. And they say, well, the leader wouldn't allow that to go to arbitration. Now, it's a very complicated situation, and we really probably don't have the full picture of exactly what happened. This is the Battle of Siffin that occurred in 37-657. And then Ali killed many Muslims at the Battle of Nahrawan in 37-657. That was against the Kharijites, from which the Ibadis came out. And here they claim, so Abdullah bin Wahab al-Rasibi, they claim that he was the rightful caliph. And so they had a caliph kind of opposed to Ali bin Abi Talib. What the Ibadis have done, which is different, very different than the Sunnis and the Shiites, is that they claimed that somebody outside of Quraysh could be the leader. Their basic claim was that the most, shall we say, what is the word I'm looking for? The most qualified person was the person who should be the leader. And that actually the community can force that person to be the leader if that person doesn't want to be the leader. And so remember how we went through, and this is where it becomes very important. Remember we looked through that that for the Umayyads and for the Abbasids, the caliph came from the lineage of the Quraysh. Of course, for the Shiites, the caliph is going to be from the lineage of the Quraysh because he's a descendant of the Prophet. All right? So here, they were the first ones to come out and say, no, actually that doesn't matter. That is not where it needs to be located. It needs to be the most qualified person. And they said, theologically, in a reading of the Quran, this is the best theological understanding of what God intended in the Quran. On that particular point, I agree with them, actually. When I go back over the history, I sometimes think the Ibadis were almost like, man, this stuff is getting crazy. We're just going to kind of like take a back seat to this. And indeed, it was a very confused time. It's known as the first Fitnah in Islam, as the first kind of major period of strife. All right. Now, the Ibadis are the dominant form, as we said before, in Oman and Zanzibar, with small communities found in Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and East Africa. The only one I can really verify myself is the East African one.